Iceland is a landscape unlike any other. Beautiful, desolate, enchanting, it hosts some of the most unique hiking in the world across terrain that feels carved from legends. The Laugavegur and Fimmvörðuháls Trail cross 48 miles of lava fields, mountains, and rhyolite hills that showcases the diverse and wild landscape of this island. I decided to walk it with my friends Thiabult and Iñaki, and although we were all prepared for an experience, the trail provided so much more. This is our Iceland adventure. But first, we had to get there. With me on this adventure were two of my best friends, Thiabult and
wilderness survival expert Iñaki coming to you from a tunnel in dangerous Reykjavik. We found these apparatuses known as scooters. We're going to take them into the city now and get for supplies.
They were both wonderful companions throughout the whole journey, and after some sightseeing in Reykjavik, we set off into the mountains. We started our hike at Landmannalaugar, at the base of an enormous lava flow. In these early miles, the trail was full of day hikers exploring the volcanic geography, and the air was thick with plumes of smoke coming from cracks in the ground. As we got higher into the mountains, multicolored rhyolite hills became our scenery, and the crowds thinned until it was just through hikers along the long trail ahead of us. This first day had so many moments where we just stopped in amazement to appreciate where we were. We crossed huge patches of packed snow along with fields of obsidian glass that eventually led to our first camp at Haftanuskar, high in the Icelandic mountains.
Wilderness survival expert Iñaki. We are in a place in Iceland I can't quite pronounce. We appear to be inside of a crater where long ago, without a single doubt, a giant meteor crashed down, killing all the remaining dinosaurs and wiping all of the trees off of this wonderful country. A true tragedy of nature.
We were fortunate to have extraordinary weather the first day, which made hiking through the hills even more beautiful as the sunlight illuminated the multicolored soil and vibrant green moss. However green it looks in the video, no, it was even more striking in person. After 2,000 feet of elevation gain and 6.2 miles of hiking, we reached the hut and settled in for our first night in the mountains.
It's a little different when you're out hiking. It is a different way. For the menu today, we have a little bit of a Kung Pao grilled chicken.
How is it?
It's quite bold, spicy, with sweet sauce. And it's also paired with chicken and peppers.
Excellent.
A very fine meal.
Thiabult, what do you have on the menu tonight?
Oh, mine is poulet and lentil satay. Lentils and chicken.
And I got you old lasagna with meat sauce. Getting some carbs, getting some protein. morning dawned bright and cloudy. Day 2 was filled with crossing more rolling hills and snowpacks as we traversed the last of the Fimmvörðuháls Nature Reserve and left the plumes of volcanic smoke behind us. As we reached midday, we found ourselves on the ridgeline of the most spectacular view of the trip, looking out towards Thorsmork across the immense valley. We stopped for lunch for more than an hour here, not wanting to leave the view, but excited to venture into the beautiful landscape by way of a steep trail that slowly sunk into the valley ahead. Day 2 was also our first river crossing, which was cold, exhilarating, and honestly a bit of fun. As we approached the end of the day, thunderstorms rolled in the distance and peppered our steps with raindrops, but by the time we made it to Vangil, we had nothing but calm sunshine once again.
Wilderness survival expert Iñaki coming to you from another place in Iceland that I probably can't pronounce. The view that we're about to see is probably one of the most gorgeous views I've seen in my life. You ready? Alright, check this shit out. Absolutely.
Today felt like we were truly deep in the heart of Iceland. With the high cliffs of the Fimmvörðuháls Reserve behind us and the looming peaks ahead of us, we felt surrounded by the landscape on all sides. The vibrant moss flowed like rivers from the soil, and as the day wore on, we pulled on our rain gear to weather the edges of a storm farther south. Thankfully, the rain never got severe, but we still got plenty wet with our second water crossing at a wide and shallow river that was pleasantly cool in comparison to the ice torrent of our first crossing.
Skål! Salud!
First, this is our second week.
Day 3 was our big one, 17 miles that started with our longest river crossing yet of knee-deep ice-cold water flowing down from the distant peaks ahead. After recovering, we found ourselves on the edge of an immense plain of black lava that kept going and going like a volcanic desert. In the cloudless sky, we baked under the full sun, something I never expected in this land. Soon the trail dropped into rocky hills carved by tributaries, and as we neared the ocean, birch trees started dotting our landscape and grazing sheep were seen in the distance. 17 miles is no small feat, and so it was decided that at Thorsmork, Iñaki and Thiabult would take their leave of the trail to avoid strain injury, and I would continue on alone to Skogar. In the surprisingly dense forests outside of Thorsmork, we left the main trail and detoured to a hut, where we heard there was a full dinner available, and the three of us wanted nothing more than to relax together after our long day. However, just as we arrived, we found that the only bus was leaving in 15 minutes, so after a hasty goodbye, Iñaki and Thiabult departed back to Reykjavik. As I watched my friends disappear into the evening, I retraced our steps back towards the main trail and was suddenly by myself in the Icelandic wilderness with the 14-mile day looming in the morning. Tomorrow, I would climb the mountain pass alone. With a light dim and gray as the clouds packed in, I hiked 2.5 miles more to make it to the closest hut to the trail up the mountain pass. I crossed a wide river delta in the shadow of the mountains before eventually making camp at Basar, my last night of the adventure.
Way higher than I thought.
Made it!
Geologist Thiabult, what can you tell us about this?
You want to see something cool? Check it out. I just touched the center of the Earth. Do you want to see another thing that's cool? I just touched something that was up high in the upper levels of the atmosphere, fell down, waited for several thousand years on the glacier, and fell down right here. I am touching simultaneously the center of the Earth and the top of the atmosphere.
Gorgeous! Truly, nature knows no bounds of beauty.
Iceland.
part of this day was the hardest, not only because we were pushing far more miles than before, but also because the landscape seemed to stretch on and on towards Thorsmork while never coming closer. The biggest change as we descended from the hills was the abundance of trees and greenery that wasn't moss. As the miles began to take their toll, we were faced with a severe hit to morale in the form of an unexpected river crossing that I had somehow missed in my plans.
I hope this is the right way, but I can't see how deep it is, so... Alright, seems not that bad. Let's do it. It's cold!
As the trees grew thicker and thicker, we suddenly spotted the white tents of our destination ahead and powered through the last mile. Upon talking to the hut warden, though, we realized the bus was leaving soon, and so with 2 quick pictures in front of a sign, the Laugavegur Trail was finally finished. But my journey was not over. The Fimmvörðuháls trail connects Thorsmork to Skogar over the mountain pass, a distance of 14 miles and 3,300 feet of elevation. On top of the climb, I had a big complication to contend with. The only bus out of Skogar leaves at 4 p.m. If I wanted to catch it, I had to hike fast. Plus, the weather called for rain. Anxiety is often an obstacle to overcome on long trails, and as much as knowing your gear, weather skills, or navigation, knowing how to manage your emotions so you can stay rational is a critical part of being safe in the wild. So I stuck to my camp routine, enjoyed my audiobook, and remembered this was far from my first mountain pass.
Need some of Iñaki's hot sauce.
Day 4 started at 5:20 in the morning, but in the land where the sun doesn't sleep, it still felt bright through the clouds. The trail wound through forested valleys before climbing on top of a plateau and away from any sign of trees. The trail here was beautiful, panoramic, and had sections with steep drop-offs to both sides that made me feel like I was walking the knife's edge of the world. Soon, the rain started, first as a gentle mist, but before long, the wind picked up, and as I climbed higher, it got worse. I put my head down and walked, pushing myself blindly until I finally reached the pass and looked out across the jagged plains of volcanic rocks. On the other side of the pass was a hut I could stop at to get dry, but I didn't dare look at my watch to see what time it was. In the blind push to the top, I completely lost track of time and worried I was going to be very late to make 4 p.m.
I can't really show much because my hands are in bread bags with close finish because the wind is picking up and getting really cold.
Survival expert Iñaki we have escaped the wilderness. Braved trotting through stormy mountains, ice-cold mountains. We waddled up and down big cliffs and hills and mounds. It's another shape of land. We even trotted through 5 rivers?
4, but one was so big that it counts as double.
Okay, one was so big that it counts as double, so 5 glacial, ice-cold rivers. And now me and geologist Thiabult are in a hotel room in Reykjavik, and it's about 1 a.m. We haven't eaten anything. We smell like death. But, my goodness, the wilderness is gorgeous. You might be asking yourself, where's Taylor? He has undergone a great expedition to go between some mountains, take a look around, go down the other way of said mountains, take a look around, and then catch a bus at 4 p.m. and come back to the city. Me and geologist Thiabult, on the other hand, when we wake up in the morning, our first course of action, and I cannot stress this enough, will be to find a beer and a burger, some pizza, and a hot dog.
We're doing all 3.
We're doing all 3 in one day. We've earned it. But nature is gorgeous. Don't ever forget that.
At the top of the pass, the wind and rain had lessened, but the trail now wound through glacial snowpacks slippery from the rain. Knowing that there was a hut not too far ahead, I kept pushing as fast as I dared, worried about how long I took on the climb and if I would need to rush down to Skogar. I had lost track of time, and the never-ending sun made it difficult to guess. After the warden kindly let me in, I peeled off my gloves and looked at the time. How did that happen? My relief was immense. I laughed and laughed, and I pet this dog so much, and the warden asked if I had run all the way up here from Basar to have done it so quickly, and I kept petting this dog, who was named Noldor, and the warden said he was a very good boy, and I kept looking at my watch, unable to believe that I would be able to take my time on the hike down, because I had more than 6 hours to catch my bus. From the hut, the trail gently descended towards the sea. The clouds rolled back, and sunshine blanketed my footsteps in the calm morning air. It could not have been more different from my morning on the other side of the mountains. As I approached Skogar, the river I followed grew bigger, with each waterfall more stunning than the last. I took my time here, savored the final pages of my audiobook, took lots of video of the beautiful river, and cherished these last hours in the mountains of Iceland. Finally, after 4 days of walking, I reached the final waterfall and finished the Laugavegur and Fimmvörðuháls trail.
Riding skater for jumping boys. From the nape of her neck, he made his descent.
After a morning like that, I never thought that I'd be standing in the sunshine a few hours later. Here I am.
swims quietly beside me. Oh, the weeds, the large leaves sway and stretch themselves beneath. Blue dragonflies dart to and fro. I turn my light to your balloon and let it go.
Hitchhiking at the bus station. No takers yet. Okay, let's go through the city. The bus took me to the outskirts of the city, so I hopped on a scooter and made my way to the brewery where Iñaki and Thiabult were waiting. Even though it had only been a day, I was so happy to see them, and drinks never felt better. The next day was our last, so we went to see some of the more touristy areas near Reykjavik and take some much-earned time to relax.
You think you know me? What do you read? Something you do, something you say, you about me. You think you know me? What do you read?
The Blue Lagoon was wonderful. In the beautiful sunshine, it felt a world away from our days on trail. Afterwards, refreshed and relaxed, we made our way to Gullfoss, which absolutely blew me away. Waterfalls have always enchanted me, so standing with my friends in the spray of such immense beauty was a dream come true.
It's a bit different.
And that's how I felt about this entire trip, dreamlike. I stepped into a world sprung from the pages of legends and carved by the wildest forces of nature. Iceland is one of those places that burns like an ember of majesty in your memories. This land had everything, and yet filled you with a sense of gorgeous emptiness that broke open my soul and let it dance in the midnight sun. Every day felt like my own storybook. Every mile was a different adventure, and I'm so glad that through it all, I had two of the best friends I could ask for to share everything this incredible journey had to offer.